Greetings, Death Dhamma podcast people, and welcome to our December in-between season special episode of the Death Dhamma podcast, where today we're going to talk about clinging and aversion, and very specifically, I want to share with you a journal that I've created, and it's called Clinging and Aversion, a Buddhist journal for letting go. Hi, it's Margaret Meloni, and welcome to the Death Dhamma podcast. I'm a Buddhist practitioner out here in the world, having experienced the loss of my loved ones and knowing how much my Buddhist practice helped me on my grief journey. And now, together we have this safe space to discuss death, dying, grief, and the Buddhist teachings that help us really understand attachment, impermanence, being compassionate, being death ready, and what it means to live a life so that we can have a peaceful death. Yep, it's a big topic, and we're going to take it on together. Let's go. Why a journal on clinging and aversion? Well, why not? Okay, but seriously, one of my early meditation teachers taught me to pay attention to my thoughts while I was meditating. He never said, stop thinking. He never taught me that the goal was to put an end to all thoughts. He taught me to notice my thoughts as they arose and to give them labels, positive, negative, or neutral. I bet some of you have had that experience as well. Once a thought surfaced and was labeled, it was easier to return to my meditation. And this way, instead of beating myself up for being distracted, I learned to accept cognitive-based interruptions as part of the process. Meditation is not about experiencing a mind devoid of mental processes, and your freedom from suffering doesn't require you to be completely free of attachment. Some interpret abandoning clinging and aversion as becoming detached. And that's not the middle way. You care about the people in your lives. You are hardwired for companionship. Happy relationships do not come from apathy. Your spiritual growth does not come from nihilism. The Dhamma teaches you to be careful of being overly drawn towards sensual pleasures, insisting that your views are the only correct views, except for mine, right? Kidding. Become overly reliant on rituals and creating a false sense of self. This doesn't mean that you never enjoy a good meal or have an opinion. Of course you do. And it doesn't mean you stop taking care of your physical body. It's about finding a way to do all of this and more without creating the kind of craving that leads to suffering. Just as noting and labeling thoughts during meditation can lead to deeper realizations, journaling your experiences with clinging and aversion can show you where to apply your efforts. Your energy will follow your attention. Think of this as an experiment. By paying attention to what you want more of and what you push away, you are gathering data. A good scientist works to be objective, to gather the data skillfully, and to review it without bias. Clinging and aversion are all around you. I humbly suggest that your practice is everywhere, on the cushion, in your experiences, and, oh yes, of course, also by journaling. What I'd like to do now is share with you a section from the journal. The journal is divided by sections that are applicable to most of us in areas of our lives where we experience clinging and aversion, relationships, our health, our views of ourselves. And right now, since I'm reading this to you in December, I'm going to read to you rituals and traditions and share some exercises with you. So thank you for trusting me as we do this together. My family was Christian, some of you already know this, and in December we would go to a Christmas tree farm and select a fresh tree. I respect that that's not the best thing for the environment, but that's what we did once upon a time. That tree was cut down for us, tied to the top of our car, and then we would drive home and place the tree in the living room. We would decorate the tree with ornaments, most of which had been in the family for years. We had multicolored string of lights, lots of tinsel. I did not think we ever put up the tree before December 15th. That was our tradition. We had family friends who did not decorate their trees until Christmas Eve. I thought that was weird because I was being judgmental. When I left home and had my own Christmas tree, I didn't decorate it until, you guessed it, December 15th. I was clinging to the way we had done things. In the meantime, my mother decided to buy a fake tree. I was not happy. How could she break our tradition? Fast forward to today, if I have a Christmas tree, it comes off of a shelf in my garage because it is fake. I just pulled it down today, in fact. It took me a long time to make peace with my mother's fake tree and to allow myself to purchase a fake tree, because after hassling her for having a fake tree, how could I turn around and do the same thing, right? I was clinging tightly to how I thought things should be and clinging to happy memories of our Christmas past. And these happy memories came from following a specific Christmas tree protocol, or so I believed. Okay, now does any of this sound familiar? Not specifically Christmas, but perhaps other holidays or events or family traditions. Perhaps pause here and write some things down. What comes to mind for you? Maybe briefly describe some of the traditions that you are used to following. How does it feel when you think of changing or disregarding some of those traditions? That's another thing for you to note. What would happen if you changed or disregarded this tradition? I mean, my mom got a fake tree. It made her life easier. Eventually, I got a fake tree. Nothing bad has happened that I can trace directly to the tree. Okay, so now back to your tradition. Have you actually ever changed your tradition? What happened? What happened? Sometimes, you might have a family member like me who was relentless with giving my mom a hard time about the fake tree, but eventually, I got over it. We may follow traditions or hold certain beliefs just because we have always done so. Oh, because our family or our social group expects us to conform. But traditions are not to be followed simply because they are traditions. Reports, such as historical accounts or news, are not to be believed simply because the source seems reliable. Your preferences are not to be followed simply because they seem logical or resonate with your feelings. What? Wait, what? We can change? We can not follow our preferences? Sacrilege. No, it's true. It's true, right? Test your views or beliefs by considering the results they yield when you put them into practice. Does following this tradition or performing this ritual or holding this belief lead to a positive outcome? Great. I get it. How can a Christmas tree be a problem, right? This is the example I've been using here, right? Even this simple example holds some troubling results. There's how I tried to make my mother feel guilty for purchasing and displaying a fake tree. I am, ashamed of that. I'm not beating myself up for it every day. It was a long time ago, before my Buddhist training. And hopefully my mom forgave me for that a long time ago as well. My insistence on purchasing real trees, even after I realized that it was harmful to the environment, right? The year I allowed myself to feel despondent because I had nobody to help me decorate my tree. A lot of tree stuff here for me. How I was clinging to a box of ornaments I would never use when it would be more beneficial to donate them to others. Finally did that in the last couple of years. So this clinging to a tradition gave rise to clinging to things and beliefs and a craving for a different life. Consider the traditions that you've noted in this time. Or, as appropriate, a different tradition. Has this tradition ever led to unskillful clinging? Like when me unskillfully harassing my mother over her fake tree. Describe the clinging. Do you still practice this tradition? And is there still clinging? Like bad things will happen to me if I don't make this specific Christmas Eve dinner, sticking with the Christmas theme. Or difficult things will happen. I'll have a terrible New Year if I don't do this at midnight on New Year's Eve, right? But so, think about it. And what would be the outcome of changing? What would be the outcome of if you changed those things? In our lives, certain rituals hold meaning. These rituals mark milestones in our life journeys. To name some of them, right? Baptisms or naming ceremonies, graduations, weddings, anniversary parties, and funerals. We can become very focused on ensuring these rituals are performed in a certain way. Usually your way. Or You are dealing with someone who needs things to be their way, a sibling, a partner, a spouse, something like that, a parent. There have been entire television shows dedicated to brides going crazy over every detail of their weddings. We often call them bridezillas. Families have broken up over the right way to hold a funeral or memorial. And that's really sad, to break up over coming together to recognize that someone you all loved is gone. Let's consider funerals. The Buddha's teaching on impermanence serves as a reminder that death is a natural part of life and that we will all experience it. Across our various cultures and belief systems, there are different rituals to help lead individuals, families, and communities through their grief, right? And acknowledge the process. Sometimes people feel burdened having to pull together ceremonies and rituals that they don't believe in. If this happens to you, ask, who is this for? If you think you are doing a lot of work for no reason, draw upon your compassion and remember that you are putting others at ease. So often our rituals are about taking care of the living. It might not be helping you, but it could be easing the way for the grief journey of others around you. So think now, have you ever insisted that a certain ritual be performed a certain way? If so, what was it? And why was it so important to you that it be performed that specific way? What do you think would have happened if it was not performed your way? Review your answer now. Take some time, think about these questions, write something down, come back, review your answer regarding, what would have happened if it wasn't your way. Why do you believe this to be true? List some of the rituals that you believe must be performed a certain way. Create a little list for yourself. And now ask yourself, look at that list. Why do those rituals need to be performed a certain way? What would you do if a family member or close friend insisted on things being a certain way when you're helping to, coordinate or lead a specific ritual and you disagree with their beliefs? So there's a few things here to think about. And although, I'm using the example of the Christmas tree and Christmas time because it's December and I'm thinking of it, there are so many things that you might have in your life, in your culture, in your family tradition, in your own belief system that you want to be completed a certain way. And that doesn't make you wrong or bad or anything like that. We're looking for awareness in case you can't sometime do the ritual in your specific way. You want to be ready to let go. And in this way, you can participate in rituals and traditions with openness and happiness and in a way that it is supportive of you and not bringing you towards suffering, because that's not the goal, right? You've been listening to the Death Dhamma podcast with your host, Margaret Meloni. Thank you so much for being here. Come find me on margaretmeloni.com, MargaretMeloni.com. And until we meet again, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be at ease, and may you be free from suffering. Bye for now.